So now we have our quillo all sewn.
This is part 2 of sewing our quillo. We've got everything all put together and pinned together. We've got our squares made for the pocket, and now we're just going to sew all the way around so we can turn it inside out and then sew that up and then sew on the pocket, and we'll be finished. When you're sewing all the way around it, make sure that both edges of your 2 fabrics are together, because if one's longer than the other one, then they won't catch, and then you're going to have a hole, and you don't want that. You want to have a smooth straight line all the way around it, and that both fabrics catch each other.
So when you start sewing, make sure you find your 2 pins that you have made for your starting and your stopping points. So you've got 2 here and 2 here, and we'll start sewing and going down, and we'll go all the way around and stop and back stitch where the other 2 are, and then we'll leave an opening so that you can pull it through. Remember on the corners to trim off the corners, but don't cut the thread. Once you finish sewing, go ahead and trim so you have just a little bit along the edge. Okay, so cut half of it off. So before you turn your blanket over, you need to cut the corners. So cut it diagonal, and then you also need to check both sides and make sure that you caught both sides. We have a couple people that there were a couple poles because their fabric slid under. So if you do that, then you go back and fix that and sew it up before you reverse it. Okay, once your blanket is turned right side out, then you're going to pin your opening. So this is my opening right here. And you can either just sew right over top of your opening, or you can sew all the way down. And that's what I've decided to do. I'm going to sew all the way down just so it looks congruent. So you decide what you want to do. Just make sure the opening is sewn shut. Okay, so you can see that I'm sewing, and I'm sewing where the bunched up part is inside, and now I'm getting to where my opening is. So I'm actually going to I'm going to sew to the edge, and then sew right along the edge right here until my opening is done. So that's my opening, and then right there, then I'm going to come back and then sew so it's big again, so it'll look like that again. Okay, so make sure you catch the opening. You have to come and sew right along the edge to catch the opening. So we're going to finish up our quillo now. So the way we're going to finish it up is we're going to take our sides, bring them together, find the center, mark it with a pin, which I have a pin right here. Get your pocket, you're going to do the same thing, fold it in half, and set the center of that right on top of the center of your quillo, okay? Then pin it on the sides from here and here. Then you're going to sew. You're going to start right here on the corner, and you're going to go all the way around and back stitch right here. Make sure you leave the center open. One thing I wanted to point out is that just when I was sewing along the outsides, the part of the front slid to the back, and it was just, you know, how it happened, but I actually love it. And with my future quillos, I'm going to actually fold it on purpose to make it look like a binding all the way around, and sew it like that. So, because you see that it looks quite nice like that. So anyway, so go ahead and do that, and then come back and I will show you how to fold up your quillo and put it in your pocket. So I wanted to just show a little bit of this part because you actually, because it's so thick, you actually need to hold your presser foot up to lift the foot. So it's already up, but if you push your presser foot up, it will go even higher to get under the thickness of your quillo, because we've got several layers of fleece, and so it's not going to just slide under the foot. So you need to push it up and slide it under right here at the edge, and then put it down, and then you can go ahead and and start sewing. Okay? So you'll notice also I'm not doing this thick part, I'm doing right along this line. Okay, so we're trying to do it as thin as we can, on the thinnest part as possible. Okay, so because it's so thick, you are going to have to hold on to your blanket and give it a little tug sometimes as you're going. Just watch it. If it's moving, it's great. If not, then give it a little tug. If you have a quilting foot, then you could put that on too, and it will actually pull the fabric on top. We're just using a regular one. Pivot and turn. You'll have to see that, so you are going to have to kind of scrunch up your fabric and pull it through. So, or take it and roll it down. When you have a really thick quilt, then you have to make it fit and you roll it tight to get it in. Okay, so you line it up, line up your fabric again, and so it's ready to go. Press your foot back down and we're off. Just keep your fingers out of the way, right? You don't want to run over your fingers, but you still need to help slide it along. So we are working with a really thick fabric here. So it's like a little, almost a little tug of war to finish it off here. So you can do it with the Quillo with cotton fabric. We just chose to do the fleece because it was really cold this winter. Okay, great. We are done. We're going to trim off our strings and go, and I'll teach you how to sew, to fold it up. Okay, so now we have our Quillo all sewn. We're going to go ahead and turn it around so the pocket is facing you. Now we're going to take it, we're going to fold it into thirds. So take where your pocket is, that's where the fold is going to be, right there. If you have a nice place on the floor, then you can lay it out on the floor, and it makes it easier to line up. Then you're going to do the other part. It's kind of like a sleeping bag. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and turn it back over. So your pillow is facing up. And then you're going to stick your hands in the pocket and you're going to grab the corners. Grab both corners and pull it out. Okay? And then you're going to pull out the corner so it looks nice. Okay? Then we're going to roll it out again like a sleeping bag. Okay, and then we're going to start just rolling it up or folding it. Okay, once you get down to the bottom, then you're just going to tuck it inside. There you go. Hey, we've got our Quillo all done. Good job, you guys. I hope you had as much fun as I had. And I want to give a special thanks to Deborah Walters, our guest creator. She did an awesome job. I'm so thankful that she came and helped us out at our class. See you next week on Creating Joy.